What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten football channel. Our 2020 college football predictions continue with the Penn State Nittany Lions, a team that had a really good year last year, only lost 2 games, had a New Year's Six Bowl win, and you look back at that Minnesota game, close to winning that game, and they would have won 11-1 then, and maybe even been in the discussion for the college football playoff. But it didn't quite happen that way. You look at the 2020 team, I think this team is going to be really, really good. I think our latest top 25 poll, I have Penn State at number 5. That's how good I think this team could be this season. Offensively, they're going to be really good on the offensive line. They're going to be really good at running the football. They've got a stable of running backs. They're going to be one of the top defenses in the country. The one thing that's going to determine their success is going to be the passing game, in my opinion. Can they find that balance? Can they become explosive through the air? That's the big question. If they can make a jump kind of like LSU did last year, and Sean Clifford could make a jump kind of like Joe Burrow, maybe not even to that level, this team has a chance to win a national championship this year. If they can't, if they're still not quite as explosive as they need to be in the passing game, they'll still have a good year, but I don't think they'll make the college football playoff. These are some of the other predictions for Penn State. The FBI has them at 10.1 and 2.2. That would include a potential conference championship game, roughly a 30% chance of winning the Big Ten East. Yes, the FBI is high on this team. Vegas has their over-under total at 9.5, so you got to either bet over or under 9.5. That, I think you definitely would be better off going over there. 9-3 with their schedule. It could happen, but I think you would probably be more likely to see this team do better. Athlon Sports has them at 11-1, so they are very high on this team as well. They have them at 11-1, but not making the college football playoff. I'm assuming they'd finish like number 5 in the poll based off of Athlon. I don't think they give you a final poll, but this is the schedule for Penn State. They open up with Kent State, and that's going to be a win. I think we can go ahead and skip through that one. But Virginia Tech is a big game in week 2 on the road. This is going to be a great game. 2 great defenses, potentially 2 top 10 defenses in the country. Both teams are going to run the football. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be a fight. And I think ultimately home field advantage does come into play here. I think Penn State is the better team on a neutral field. I would pick Penn State. But it is very tough to go into Virginia Tech and get a win, especially in a big game like this. Early season hype, Virginia Tech, they're probably going to be in the top 25. They're ready for this season. I think the crowd makes the difference, and Virginia Tech pulls off the upset in week 2 in a very, very close game. Maybe it comes down to a blocked field goal or something crazy like that. I think it's a great game, but I do think Virginia Tech pulls off that upset, and Penn State starts the season off 1-1. San Jose State is up next. That's a win. And then Northwestern on September 26th. This team is expected to be better this year. The FBI actually had them in the top 25. I don't have them quite that high, but I do think they'll be better. Fitzgerald is a great coach. They've got Peyton Ramsey, the transfer quarterback, coming in from Indiana. Offense should be better, but Penn State is the better team. They're playing at home. I think Penn State takes care of business. Don't expect this game to be super close. The Nittany Lions get the win, and with those 2 wins, move to 3-1 on the season. Michigan on October the 3rd. It seems like the home team has been winning in this series a lot as of in recent years, and that may happen again here. Michigan, a tough place to play. They're going to be a talented team, top to bottom. You look at the rosters, you compare them, and I think Michigan is pretty even with Penn State, but I think Penn State does have that advantage at quarterback. Sean Clifford, a veteran quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be a Heisman contender, but he's proved that he can be a pretty solid quarterback for this team. I think they're a little bit more. They just have those big time players like Micah Parsons, and I know Michigan has them as well. But I just think Penn State has the mentality. They will have the mentality to go on there and go on the road and get a win over Michigan, especially after that early season loss that maybe that wakes them up a little bit. And I don't think they overlook Virginia Tech by any means, but I'm just saying I think they're so focused that they're able to actually go on the road and get this win. And I was really back and forth. I was going to pick a loss either against Virginia Tech or Michigan on the road. I decided to go with Virginia Tech. I just think Penn State, or Michigan, I should say, is going to be down a little bit this year. I think Penn State has the better team again, and I think they get that win even on the road. We had a bye week before playing Iowa on October 17th. Iowa's a team that always gives you trouble, especially at home, but this game is at home for Penn State, not for Iowa. They get the home field advantage in this game, and I think that is enough to get a fairly easy win over the Hawkeyes. Not a blowout, but I think they win by a couple of possessions before playing Ohio State on October 24th. Going to be a huge game, and that loss to Virginia Tech, that doesn't knock Penn State out of playoff contention by any means. If they win out and they beat Ohio State and they win the Big Ten, they're going to make the college football playoff. So I don't think a loss to Virginia Tech is going to completely ruin their season or anything like that. But regardless of that game, they really have to beat Ohio State. They're not going to make the Big Ten championship game without winning this game. Maybe they sneak in the playoff at 11-1, but even that seems not real likely. Problem is, I just think Ohio State is too good. I think that offense is too explosive. Even at home for Penn State, I think they lose this game. I think it's a fourth quarter game, a close game. But I like Justin Fields to make the plays late in the game and get the win. And Penn State moved to 5-2 on the season after that loss. But I think they could win that game. It would not shock me if Penn State won that game. It was a tough one. I was really back and forth, but I did ultimately go with the Buckeyes to get the win there. Indiana on Halloween, a road game for Penn State right after playing Ohio State the week before. Watch out for a potential hangover in this game. Indiana going to be a very good team this year, potentially a top 25 team. I think Penn State starts slow in this one, but I do think they find their way in the second half. They're able to get it together and make enough plays to win this game in what could be a pretty close game on the road. But yes, give me Penn State to win that one. They moved to 6-2 before playing Nebraska. Nebraska is a team that I hyped up last year and was totally wrong about, so I'm not doing that this year. I do think Nebraska does take a step forward. They'll be a little bit better, but I don't think they're going to compete for a Big Ten West championship or anything like that this year. But still, it's a tough place to play, and it's right after a pretty tough stretch there of Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, Indiana. So this game could be a little bit closer than the experts would think, but I think Penn State will find a way, whether it's close or not. They just find a way to get it done. And they beat Nebraska in this game on the road. Again, I do think it will be pretty close. I think I'm going to say Penn State will win by about 10 to 14 points, but they do get that win on the road and move to 7-2 on the season. Michigan State's a team that has given Penn State some problems in the past. I just don't see that being the case this year. You look at the final three games, it's a very favorable schedule for Penn State. It's good news and bad news. If they're in that playoff discussion, they're not going to have any real resume games there in the final 3 weeks. But if they are, say, 11-1, then you can almost guarantee they're going to finish strong. If they have one loss, I should say, then you can almost guarantee they're going to finish strong and go 11-1. But yeah, I think they beat Michigan State. I don't think the game's really all that close. I do not expect Michigan State to be very good this year. I think with the coaching change, all the players that they lost, and they really weren't that good last year, I think Penn State rolls in that game. Moves to 8-2. Maryland is up next on the schedule on November 21st. Maryland is a team that struggled last year. I thought they were going to be much better last season. I really did. They have a lot of question marks. The game is at home for Penn State. Not really a game that I'm too worried about for the Nittany Lions. I think they take care of business. They win this game big. And I think it's back-to-back blowouts at home. The final two home games of the season for Penn State as they move to 9-2. Final game of the year is on the road at Rutgers on November 28th. What will Rutgers look like this year? Greg Schiano taking over. He did some big things at Rutgers. It's going to take time, though. I don't expect much of a turnaround this year. They have added some transfers and got some players to where you might see this team be a little bit more competitive, but I don't think they're anywhere near the level of a team like Penn State. I think Penn State goes on the road and crushes Rutgers, and they finish off the year with 5 straight wins, and they will be 10-2. I'm predicting 10-2 for Penn State. I was very, very close to picking them at 11-1, though. The 3 games for me are Virginia Tech, Michigan, Ohio State. I do not see Penn State losing to anyone else. I know Indiana, Nebraska on the road, those are tricky, but I really think they win 9 games for sure. Virginia Tech, Michigan, Ohio State, those are the 3 games. They're capable of winning, I think, 2 of those 3 games, and I think they're capable of beating Ohio State at home if things go their way. But ultimately, I've got to make a pick on these games, and I'm going to say that they lose to Virginia Tech and Ohio State and finish with 2 losses. What do all of you think about Penn State? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think this team can beat Ohio State? Do you think they can maybe win the Big Ten, maybe get to the college football playoff, or maybe I'm overrating them? Maybe you think they're going to be 9-3 or 8-4. Give me your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.